cliff jumper. Commence countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. ToyCast with your hosts, TFG1 Mike and General Tekno.
Hello and welcome to the 81st episode of ToyCast, brought to you by the GCRN Radio Network. I am your host, TFG1 Mike, and joining me is General Tekno. Hello, sir.
Hello there.
Yes, we should probably have some sort of crowd noise welcoming you back, because it's been a while since you've been on the show.
Yeah, oh well.
So what's been going on with you?
Not much. I mean, I've gotten a whole bunch of new stuff since I was last on the show, which is no surprise. But nothing too much going on in my life right now. So I guess my birthday's next week. But
oh, cool! Well, happy early birthday then.
Yeah, thanks.
There you go. That's always good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's been tons of news and stuff about all the Generations figures coming out. Potential Wheeljack, Trax is out, Lugnut's out. Oh, shit, Lugnut.
He's not out yet. He's just out in he leaks. Like those waves are still on KO Toys and stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as it's been like. You know, we've seen pictures and we've seen people that have gotten them, that has done reviews and stuff like that.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm not a Lugnut fan. I have not, I have made no qualms about not being a Lugnut fan because I think that they basically just, said, oh, Astro Train, well, shit on you. We're going to do this original character that nobody even knows about. And of course, people like you who have become big fans of it is fine, but
yes.
For me, it was always Astro Train and Blitzwing were triple changes.
Yes, and I don't think it was even considered because of the fact that it was more of we want a triple changer on the team, and they were originally going to do a 6-shot more, and then once the toy people started going, that's kind of impractical for us to do, they went with Blitzwing.
Yeah, I know, but they still could have gone with Astro Train. Astro Train's not impractical. 6-shot is impractical. Astro Train is not. But yeah, so you want to... Well, my point is that because I'm not a real fan of Lugnut as far as that goes, like the toys and all that, I gotta say, between the animated Voyager and this new Generations Voyager, I like the animated Voyager much better.
Well, I won't be able to be 100% until I get the Generations one in hand, which I do plan on doing, but I do like the Generation... I do think that there's a lot of stuff the Generations one has that the animated doesn't, which I like better. For instance, that opening and closing mouth is really nice. And I really do like the way the wings transform and just the size of him in vehicle mode. Like, he's got a massive vehicle mode because of the... I credit it entirely to the fact that they're packaging Voyagers in robot mode now. Because since they can do that, they can actually do alt modes which are larger and which would, if they were to do Lugnut in the past, they would have had to make the packaging for the whole line bigger in order to fit him in that packaging.
Yep.
It's kind of like goes back to like movie Long Haul, where size-wise he's kind of too thick to fit in proper Voyager packaging, but he really fills it out as a robot, which is why they packaged him in robot mode.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes it just depends with me as far as the packaging goes, as far as whether it's in robot mode or alt mode. Honestly, it really boils down to the character. If I want two of the character to have, like War for Cybertron, Optimus, Bumblebee, Soundwave, Megatron.
Right. Well, I think that their decisions overall on who gets robot mode and who gets all mode have been pretty smart because with the War for Cybertron guys, they're Cybertronian, and I guess the idea is that the robot modes are far more recognizable, which is true. Whereas with the other guys, it's more you got cool cars that turn into robots, so they can bank on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for that lug nut. I've got a couple on pre-order at BBTS. I'm probably going to get one if I can early as well. And then, of course, there's the Japanese one I've got on pre-order. And I honestly think from what we've seen so far of pictures, I honestly think as the premier lug nut fan, it is my argument that Hasbro did a better deco. I do not like... What kills the Takara one for me is that purple head.
But wait a minute. No, his head wasn't purple and animated. Never mind.
No, it wasn't. So, no. I like the Atomic Lugnut homage in the colors, though, so. Because I've always liked the Atomic Lugnut deco.
Yeah. Yeah, so how many other Lugnuts would you get if you had a Lugnut army of Puggles?
Well, I'm already hoping to get the trying to get one in for the Generations one, and then of course there's the United one because it's got a different deco.
Oh.
And then of course you've probably seen my Lugnut fan art at this point, so.
I don't think so, but I've seen.
It's not quite fan art per se. I basically got the idea on a whim at one point after a probably 4-hour Skype conversation or so to do all of the do human female designs for all the Lugnut toys.
Oh, wow.
And when I say that, I mean like even the McDonald's Lugnut toy got one.
Wow.
Let's see.
Oh, man.
It was fun.
So are you going to get Puggle versions of all of those?
Oh, no. I don't think... no, the McDonald's one is not different enough in order to warrant like something like, say, a Puggle, but it works well from a concept design.
Yeah. I think, honestly, I mean, until some of these other... Oh, yeah, those are pretty cool. Know your lug nuts. That's funny.
And Derek, for the record, does not...
I see that! Disapproved by Derek J. Wyatt.
So, he's entitled to his opinion. I've got nothing against him for not liking him. I just thought it would be amusing to put on, given I knew his on-the-record thoughts.
Wow, that's funny. Disapproved by Derek J. Wyatt. That's so awesome. Oh, man. Yeah, honestly, until... The problem I have, and I think I mentioned this in a past episode of ToyCast recently, let's face it. I mean, usually the online retailers like Big Bad Toy Store, like KO Toys, like Toy Arena, most of the time they get the stuff early. Well, Big Bad Toy Store sometimes does, or sometimes get it close to release date, but honestly, the online market is like weeks and weeks and weeks ahead of retail outlets.
Yes, but that's because they don't have the disadvantage retail has of distribution. Like for the online stores, they've got one distribution center. They get their stuff shipped in, and then they send it out to their customers. Whereas for Walmart, they've got to put it through everything, plus they've got to worry about what stock they have on the shelves. So they're not going to stock immediately.
Yeah.
The online retail model is very efficient for toy purchasing. I've actually been using BBTS very heavily for a lot of the Transformers I've purchased recently, just because of the fact that it's been taking forever for stuff to trickle up to Canada.
Yeah.
Like I've got all the waves that have been announced for Generations and Reveal the Shield. At this point, like I've got them all on pre-order, waiting to get in. Plus, if you get the whole set of 4, you can generally get if you get the whole sets of 4, when you add in shipping, it's actually works cheaper out to be pretty close to Canadian retail. So
yeah.
So I mean,
it's just one of those things where it's like, well, first of all, lately I haven't had a lot of extra spending cash, but I mean, even if I did, it's like, okay, I can go to Walmart or I can go to Target and Optimus, Bumblebee, Drift,
right.
Thrust, it's like
a sea of Ravages.
Oh, The Sea Attack Ravage?
Yeah, the Attack Ravage.
See, I wasn't even really talking about uh, uh, Hunt for the Decepticon stuff. I mean, I like those figures, but they're just not. It's not something that I have to have. I mean, the only Ravage that I've bought since the original movie Ravage was the Legends version, and I just I don't really like the repaints of Ravage. I just don't.
That's perfectly fair. I'm at the point, mind you, where I've basically gotten enough of the Ravage decos. I decided to go completist on the movie Ravage, and I've just got.
Did you hit mute? Tekno.
Yes, I did hit mute actually. Yes. Where did I cut off? So.
Movie Ravage is completionist.
Yes, I was saying that. I was that there's just the 3-pack for me to get with Bumblebee and Rampage, and I'll get that eventually. I'm just waiting for it to go a bit cheaper first. So,
my only problem with the other repaints of Movie Ravage is that the eyes or the eye on each one, it's not purple.
Well, they got it right on the new one because it's red. So
I know, but
the 3-pack
I like
red.
I always liked the purple eye on the original deluxe version.
Honestly, that was the thing I liked the least about the original. So, the purple. So go figure. But I actually think that so far out of the ones I have, I think that the mail away one is the neatest as far as deco goes, just because of the mix of colors he's got. So
mix of colors plus the chrome.
Yes, he looks really nice on a shelf. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with the movie stuff, I will admit that at this point, like, I'm not going for a lot of the movie stuff. I'm not necessarily going for completionist on. Like, I mean, there's a few things, like Wave 2, for instance. I was considering getting Elite 1, but in the end, from Wave 2, all I'm getting is all I've gotten and plan to get is Hailstorm. Yeah. And Wave 3, I'm just going to be getting Tomahawk and Terradive. And I've actually got Tomahawk.
I like a lot of the way the figures look, but they're just. I mean, it's nice to see pictures and people doing reviews of them, and that's all well and good. But they're just not figures that I want in my collection. And,
yes,
and it really has nothing to do with the fact that they're quote unquote movie verse. I mean, technically they're not. I mean, it's they renamed the line to Hunt for the Decepticons, and that's part of movie and all that, but I mean, it doesn't say Revenge of the Fallen. It's not constant repaints or refolds.
They're shifting the line away. From
right, exactly, and it's not that I don't like the figures. I like them. I just don't, outside of not actually having the extra money, but I just don't feel that I need them in my collection. I mean, the only one I would,
I said, that's fine.
Oh yeah, the only one I may get, but probably not, because I really don't like the way his face looks, is Sea Spray. I would probably only get him for alt mode.
Oh, Sea Spray, he's a good figure. That Battle Blades Prime, if you don't have the leader, I'd suggest you get that as well. Yeah. Because that's like basically all the engineering of the leader in a Voyager class toy. I don't have him. I might get him if I find him cheap, but I'm honestly on the fence with him simply because of the fact that, well, he is a really nice mold, but he is the leader downscaled, basically, and I really like the leader.
Yeah.
But by the same token, I did buy Deluxe Ironhide, but Deluxe Ironhide is a really good toy and has a very different transformation.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I bought Ratchet just for his EMP, and then threw him in a box.
Yes. So I guess we can get into the display case segment, and I am going to go first this time. Actually, one of the listeners, one of the fans of the show, and one of the fans of the Geekcast Radio Network actually sent me a couple of things. He sent me a War for Cybertron Megatron, so I have that. He also included in there a 07 Legends Bumblebee.
Nice. Oh, you mean when you say that you mean Movie Legends Bumblebee, or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the crappy one, isn't it? Yeah, the Revenge of the Fallen one's a lot better. So.
And I don't know if this is something that has this Bumblebee. He's got like smudges on him. I don't know if it was something that Godspeed had maybe had on his hand handling the toy, But he's got
No, that's the 70s Camaro.
yeah.
Because that's got all the battle damage like the other toy, because it's a beat-up car.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's got like smudges on it. I don't know if it's supposed to be smudges or if it's supposed to be battle damage because it looks.
No, there's smudges that are supposed to represent battle damage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, it looks like somebody just stuck their finger in a piece of tar and just wiped it off on the thing or something. I don't know.
Hasbro's battle damage has never been that great on Transformers, but I think that's largely because of the paint apps.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate Godspeed sending me War for Cybertron Megatron, but this thing is not something I would even transform.
He's not a very good. I don't have that one, but I mean,
Do you want him?
No, I don't. I didn't get a lot of the movie one Legends. I got a lot more of the Revenge of the Fallen Legends, but
yeah,
a lot of them were really cool, and I've actually still got a whole bunch in box because I was planning on doing repainting a bunch of Viacons, which I never got around to.
yeah.
Yeah, like Jolt is a pretty good one, for instance, and the RC one is really good.
Yeah. I thank you very much, Godspeed, for sending me this stuff, but I'm sorry, dude. It's not changing my mind on movie toys whatsoever. But
War for
again,
Cybertron Megatron is gorgeous, though, isn't he?
oh yes, especially this part. I love this part.
Oh, the cannon is great. I like how the color changes when you put the missile in.
Yep. It's just awesome. The only real complaint, it's not really a complaint, but I wish there was more dark energon bits, like on his legs. How he's got the dark energon purple, and he's got it on his chest as well.
Yeah, he looks. Yeah, it's a very nice figure, that Megatron. I mean, I really like.
Oh, it is. It is.
He's got a great robot mode, and I mean, his all mode's not much to speak of, but it wasn't in the games either, and it's a pretty good representation of it.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I wish there was just a different. I know they're going off game design for these, obviously, but I just wish that the game design had some sort of different Cybertronian mode. I don't know what you could have for Megatron other than what he was in the game, but it just didn't. I don't know. It doesn't really transfer well to toy form.
That's true. I will say, though, that my own argument for Megatrons has always been in Cybertronian mode is that Megatron, at his core, one of his defining things is the giant gun. Like, the point of his alt mode should be to move a giant gun from point A to point B. His mode does that very well on the War for Cybertron. That's the entire purpose of it, to move a gun from point A to point B.
Right, that's true, and I will agree with
taking the G1 alt mode and fixing the biggest flaw with it, which is that the gun couldn't fly.
Oh man! Well, if you threw it far enough, it could fly.
Yes, but still, you got my point. That
I know.
That he turned into a gun and then he was helpless. At least Shockwave could fly.
Oh yeah, but Megatron is awesome. There's so many. I don't know what other homages are in this design, but obviously Buckethead is one. And it's weird. Why does he have? See, this is what makes no sense to me on some of the Transformers toys. On the top of his head, he's got purple light piping, but yet.
Oh, yes.
But yet his eyes are red, and there's no light piping whatsoever.
Yes, that's because Hasbro they tend to engineer toys just to keep in. They engineer stuff with repaints in mind nowadays, so they like to do light piping whenever they can. But if there's a case, like in Megatron's case here, where he has a purple missile, like the clear plastic on Megatron was going to be purple. That's pretty clear because of the fact that his missiles and stuff was there. Mm. So what they did instead was they painted his eyes to give him the accurate eye color. And then if they wanted to do light piping later, then on a repaint or something, then they would have that option. It's just a matter of keeping their options open. So
yeah, that's
not the first time they've done it.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. I tell you what, man, this missile does fire pretty far, though. This is probably one of the only missiles that at least out of the stuff that I have, that fires, at least maybe 2 or 3 feet away from when you fire it.
Right.
But
yeah, we don't see nowadays. You don't actually see that many figures that have two-tone light piping. There's one exception that I've seen recently, and that is the Hunt for the Decepticons Tomahawk, and that was a huge surprise for me, honestly, that he had more than one color of clear plastic.
Yeah. I just wish he. I'm hoping for. I don't think this will ever happen. What I would love to see in this Megatron mold, all black with dark energon purple everywhere.
So Shadow Blade, nice.
No, well, not really Shadow Blade. It would be more of like a dark energon power up because let's face it, dark energon is purple. I mean that's just the color it is.
Yes.
And I just wish that there was more of it on this toy. But if they were to ever do a repaint of him as like a different color Megatron, I would hope for mostly black with a little bit of red, but mostly purple. Mostly the dark, clear purple all over his body.
You know, come to think, I wouldn't mind seeing how he would look in Classics colors, just given how much of a homage his design, it shares design cues with the Classic figures. For instance, the chest.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that would work.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
It would have been
dramatically.
cool to see this guy as a gun, though. No, seriously, I could see War for Cybertron Megatron turning into a handgun.
Yes, gameplay-wise, that would be pretty horrendous gameplay.
No, it wouldn't, because then you could have Starscream hold him and fire him.
And then Starscream just chucks him into a smelting pool. Congratulations, you've just become leader of the Decepticons.
I do hope, and I know I've said this before on the show. I do hope that Optimus, Bumblebee, Soundwave, and Megatron are not the only War for Cybertron toys we are getting. Now I know we're getting the repaint of Bumblebee, which is Cliffjumper, and it's a different head and everything else, but that technically doesn't count because it's a repaint. You would think, huh?
At this point, my own thoughts on the matter are basically that I don't think we're going to see any more unless there's a second game. But I'm sure that Hasbro was probably toying around with other designs. And if there's a second game, I'm sure we'll see a few more toys.
Right, but see
because the designs are going to be the same. Because it'll be a sequel.
Right, but that still makes no sense to me. Okay, yes, Optimus, Megatron, Soundwave, and Bumblebee are four very main, well-known characters. Makes no sense to me why you wouldn't make Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp. That makes I can see them not making, like, Ironhide and Jetfire and, what was the other, Air Raid and Silverbolt. I can see not making those guys, but I mean, we all know, even though I disagree, because I'm not a Starscream fanboy, thank God, we all know that Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp are the most popular Seekers.
Well, yes. If we were to get another wave of War for Cybertron toys, honestly, what I would want I'd probably want Skywarp, I think. Yeah, I'd go with Skywarp, Ratchet. Who are the other two I had in mind? I think, Warpath and Breakdown.
Yeah, I could see that. But
I'm saying Skywarp simply because of the fact that I like his deco plus Skywarp. The last time we really got a figure that could potentially stand in with Classics Universe was that 2-pack.
Yeah.
And he's got a more interesting deco than Thundercracker.
What I wish that they would do, I know they would never do this, but something like Transformers Generations, War for Cybertron, Battle Elite 3-pack, and just have Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp as deluxe jets.
That would be cool. Hasbro hasn't really done that sort of thing with Transformers, though they've done it. They've experimented with Star Wars. I just found out the other night that there's a Clone Wars Mandalorian Warrior 4-pack, which is like 4 of the same Mandalorian Warrior.
Right.
And if I see that at retail, I might have to get it because I've got the Mandalorian Warrior mold, and he's pretty cool.
Yeah. Overall, because I am kind of talking about these two as far as what Godspeed sent me. Sorry, dude, I gotta pass on this Bumblebee. This battle damage looks horrible. I will still keep the toy, but overall, Megatron, fairly awesome. I'd love to see a black and purple repaint of him. That would be super, super cool. And I guess that's really all I have to say. Megatron is very, very awesome. The only other real complaint I have about the War for Cybertron figures is that they're all deluxes. I think Optimus and Megatron should have at least been Voyager size. That way, you know, I don't know. This Megatron seems awfully short for a Megatron. And yes, I know it is a deluxe figure, so people don't have to.
Even then, it's not an issue of Megatron being short, honestly. I think the issue is probably more that Bumblebee and Soundwave could stand to be a bit shorter. Because Megatron and Prime are actually, when you put them next to each other, they're not that different. And for proper height comparison, I'm going to grab my Cyclonus, because he's one of the taller deluxes. And Megatron's actually, not that much shorter than Cyclonus, so
I
he's a
know,
pretty
but
tall deluxe.
just having him stand here and just like my vision of Megatron in my head, he just looks too short to be a Megatron. Because like when I first opened the thing that Godspeed sent me, I'm like, oh, well, maybe his legs extend. Oh wait, no, they don't. Crap, that's as tall as this figure gets. He looks like a deluxe midget, which that's what he is. That's why I'm saying I wish that Prime and Megatron would have been Voyagers, and Soundwave and Bumblebee could have still been deluxes.
Well, I don't mind what we got because it probably made it more It was probably one of those trade-offs where it was like, well, we've got this budget to do War for Cybertron figures, so we could either do like a couple of Voyagers or like 4 deluxes. So deluxes are the sweet spot for Hasbro's price points.
I know they are, but still, it's just. I don't know. I guess it's just me and my whole size scale.
Oh, fair enough.
Problem thing because it's like it's not really like Bumblebee's a little bit shorter. Well, no, he's not. They're all like the same size, which sucks. And that's why I'm saying if Optimus and Megatron were Voyager size, and I don't see why you couldn't make in a War for Cybertron toy line that you're only going to have 4 toys, make 2 of them Voyager, 2 of them Deluxe. And yeah, I understand that Deluxe is Hasbro's sweet spot for price point, but I mean, people would have bought a Voyager Optimus and a Voyager Megatron.
Maybe, I suppose. But, I mean, in the end, I think, though, that when it comes to, I think the biggest problem with the War for Cybertron figures was just that because they were packaged in robot mode, they all had to be roughly the same size.
Mm-hmm.
And that was probably their biggest downfall because they couldn't fiddle around with scale. Though by the same token, I've kind of given up on for some time on getting the scale that I want. I mean, even in G1, you've got Power Glide. Like you look at stuff like, say, how Power Glide, for instance, turns into what is it, an A10, and that's a massive plane, but he's one of the smallest Transformers.
Yeah.
And then you look at all the people who complained when they gave him a toy that was actually more in scale with how big he actually should be.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not, I mean, we could argue about.
And then how Thunderwing's toy, that should be that should be at least a Voyager because Thunderwing is massive, and stuff like that. I mean, mind you, in Thunderwing's case, that's a different story simply because of the fact that there was engineering they did drop from the Deluxe. So.
Uh-huh. So what will you be talking about, sir?
Well, I've been getting a whole ton of stuff since the last show, and I'm actually going to talk about some stuff that fits the theme, I think, of actually the last time I was on. Because was it last time I was on, was that when I talked about Galvatron, or Beast Wars 2nd Galvatron, or was I on after that?
Yeah, you're fine. Keep going.
Okay, yeah. But anyway, I like that figure, and then I was hunting around BBTS, looking at other Beast Wars 2nd figures that were decent prices, because they have a few Korean box ones, which are basically the same figure, just the Korean packaging. And I came across Starscream and BB2 pack, which, like a lot of the other figures in the Beast Wars 2nd, they're repurposed Generation 2 molds that they repainted in order to use in a different line. Right. This figure was used in G2. There was a Dreadwing colors, and there was also a RID colors as well, I guess. And there's been a few different decos of this 2-pack that I've gotten, and it's the Starscream and BB from Beast Wars 2nd. So,
I've seen video reviews of these guys. BB is ugly.
See, BB is a pretty cool figure in my opinion. For one, I actually like him more than the Starscream. What I like about BB is, I mean, first of all, I mean the deco on these guys is pretty cool. It's just the whole black, purple, and yellow. It works really well. And you even have like small little sticker details, like how Starscream has a little Predacon faction symbol on his head crest, which is a neat little touch.
Yeah, that is a neat little touch there.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, what I like, and the two, like Starscream turns into a jet, like G1 Starscream, and BB turns into a stealth bomber, and the two can combine, which is appropriate given that it was originally originally was Dreadwing and Smokescreen that were the two figures. So there's a bit of a Dreadwing Darkwing homage in how they combine in vehicle mode.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like in the comics, what they actually did for Dreadwing is they had a Darkwing got blown apart in an attack, and they rebuilt him into the G2 Dreadwing body because it's got very much the same colors as G1 Darkwing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so what I really like about BB though is just the proportions. You talk about those being ugly, but those same proportions are actually what I love about this figure, because the fact that, well, for one, these guys have the benefit of G2 engineering, which is one of those things that I don't like about G1 toys, because G2 was when they really started experimenting with actually giving toys joints. Other than oh, it needs to bend here for the transformations. Let's give it a joint here, even though the knees bend the wrong way.
Yeah.
But yeah, like BB has like fully posable arms and legs, and his head turns as well. And then his gun can be moved around too, which makes him really neat. But what I really like is just the short and how he's the giant stocky character who, you know, doesn't necessarily look that intelligent, but his mold carries with it a lot of character.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very much like a just to use some analogies, it's like the I guess the classic small guy big guy pairings which you have throughout. You have them all throughout comedy and that sort of thing. But, like, for instance, you got Ransack and Crumple Zone in Transformers Cybertron. That's probably what comes to mind first. And then, of course, you've also got pairings like, I guess even Bumblebee Bulkhead works as that, too.
Yeah.
You've got the little guy, and then he's got the big guy that he can use to back him up if he needs to. Like, that's the vibe I get from Starscream and BB, because the fact that you got Starscream, this little jet, and then you got, like, his big... like this big behemoth, the guy that he works with, like the big bruiser guy who's got the cannon on his back that fires off 6 missiles, and then he stores another 3 missiles on each of his wings.
I know, but I'm sorry.
12 missiles in a toy.
And that's fine for the like I said to you off air. The only thing I like about the BB toy is the stealth bomber mode. The robot mode is just fugly to me. That head sculpt sucks. I mean, it looks like a gray version of Waspinator, for Christ's sake.
I honestly don't see any Waspinator in this head sculpt. I don't know
the
how you
nose part, the nose and mouth, it reminds me of Waspinator.
Yeah, for me it looks more like just some sort of mask that someone flying at high altitudes would wear more so. It looks more like just fighter pilot gear than anything. I mean, I don't like that's not a mouth there to me. Like,
oh no, not Waspinator. Quick Strike. Sorry.
Oh, Quick Strike. I could kind of see Quick Strike.
As far as
yeah.
The nose and the mouth. Sorry, I was thinking of Quick Strike, and it's
yeah, I get what you're saying. Although honestly, Starscream, even though it's not similar, he gives me more of a Quick Strike vibe than BB does, just because of his proportions and just the overall design and head sculpt. He feels like he'd be more of a Quick Strike type to me. But I haven't seen the original Beast Wars 2 anime, so I don't really know how these characters are done. Other than the fact that I guess BB's like Starscream and BB, like they always work together, and Starscream's like the brains of the operation, and BB's the guy who goes Roger and obeys his buddy's orders.
Yeah. Well, Starscream, looking at his head sculpt here, he's a Black Prime.
Yes. Again, it's a repurposing of molds. It's not G1 Starscream. It wasn't G1 Starscream in the show.
Right.
It was a different character named Starscream.
Yeah.
And it was originally this was originally Mirage. No, it was originally Smokescreen actually.
Oh, okay.
Scrawled. It was a Decepticon known as Smokescreen. And what was actually cool is the guy who went on to do a lot of the I think it was the Binaltech fiction that he did later on. But like some of his, he did some. No, it was at least the guy who did the linkage manga. This was official stuff for Transformers Armada Energon,
Mm-hmm.
where he did some fiction with the Minicons, and this
Yeah.
was in Japan. He way back in the '90s, he did a fan comic, like a doujin, Japanese fan comics, which was Generation 2 based, and he actually did a pretty clever job where like Smokescreen gets killed early on, and he was gonna bring Smokescreen back, like resurrected by Vector Sigma as a Decepticon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds interesting, but
Yeah, it's a neat read if you look it up online. So,
yeah.
but yeah, they're good figures, and
Don't they have a combined mode?
yes, they kind of do. Actually, that's one thing too. With BB, he's actually a triple changer, believe it or not. So, despite being that stealth bomber, you probably saw that on the page I linked you. But
Yeah, I saw the little tank mode thing.
yeah, basically Starscream slots into the back, and it forms a more complete stealth bomber.
Mm.
And then you pull him, and then when you pull Starscream out, he'll deploy into the tank mode.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else we want to discuss?
I'm going to touch briefly, I guess, on a couple of the movie toys I just got, like Hailstorm and Tomahawk. Hailstorm, well, he's cool. He's going to get repainted in a mindset later on. He's a pretty cool design. He actually reminds me a lot of Bulkhead in how his robot mode looks.
Mm-hmm.
Just the green figure, just the types of proportions he has. He's got the two pauldrons on his shoulders there. And Tomahawk, meanwhile, is one of those figures that is an absolutely phenomenal one, but there is only one thing that I don't like about him, and that is the fact that he is not Spinister.
Mm.
Like Hasbro, you had better give us a Spinister repaint of this guy. It's the same alt. It's the same alt mode. The robot mode looks really similar, and in robot mode, you can even stick the propeller blades up the same way that you could on G1 Spinister, and they'll stay.
I don't even know who the character is, so I wouldn't know. I'm just saying, I can't form an opinion either way. But as far as Tomahawk goes, he does look very, very awesome. And as I said before, just he's awesome, but he's not awesome enough to be in my collection. I know it sounds bad, but
Yeah, that's Spinister there. So
yeah, I still if he's not in cartoon continuity, I don't know him.
yeah, fair enough. He was like a B C lister in the like at the time he appeared, he was probably a B lister in the comics. So
Yeah, he almost looks like a weird, like his robot mode kind of reminds me of like a crumpled up Soundwave cassette. I don't know why, it just does.
probably the colors.
Yeah, probably the colors, and plus the his little parts things, his hair splitter and sting thing or whatever.
Yeah, if you take a look at the box art, like it looks a lot cooler than the toy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the box art looks awesome. But
Yeah.
and see, that's another thing. I mean, we could go on. I could probably have an episode discussing box art versus actual toys. And I mean, really, like one of the things that I was really disappointed with was the box art versus the actual toy of Punch Counter Punch. God.
Oh.
And I know they're going off the Sunstreaker side swipe mold and all that, but
Yes.
it just, I mean, this really do his legs even split apart?
Who Punch Counter Punches?
No.
You mean on the original toy? Or?
Oh, sorry, I'm going back to Spinster here.
On the original, I don't think so. I don't know if they did, actually.
I mean, they look like they should, but in the picture they don't. And I
It's
mean,
probably one of those cases with G1 toys, which you got a lot, where the legs didn't actually split.
well, see, that's funny that you mentioned that because the only G1 toy that I have that's kind of like this or this type of size scale is Astro Train, the original Astro Train.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, when I used to transform him as a kid, I never thought his legs split apart. And then I found out one day, oh, they split apart. So that's what I'm wondering, because if you look at this picture that you've given me here, he does have two separate legs, and then it goes into this little helicopter cockpit thing where his legs are. So you would think that there's a line there that his legs would split apart, but I don't.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like they do. But yeah, half the reason I want Spinister, mind you, is because of the fact that we're getting a Thunderwing toy. And he was among Thunderwing's posse, so.
Very cool.
But yeah, I mean, it's decent figure, and I guess one non-toy thing that I got as well is I got new HD webcam, so I'm hoping to, once I get a review area set up properly, I'll be able to do some really nice reviews with that thing.
Yeah, the last video you had was like TFCon Day 1.
I actually just posted something recently where I was just fiddling around with the camera and just to focus.
Yeah, I saw that.
So. And also, for War for Cybertron toys, if you really want more, what I would suggest is get the Perfect Effect Rumble and Frenzy, because they're in scale with everyone else. Plus, they look like they have a very similar aesthetic.
I guess, but I mean, Hasbro is putting those out though.
Oh yeah, the new Rumble and Frenzy. Yeah. Plus for all the whiners about scale, if you take a look at Matt Booker's analysis, those thanks to Hasbro having their 3mm pegs on everything now, you can actually do accurate scale measurements with just pictures.
Yeah.
So he basically took a picture of Straxus, took a picture of another figure with 3mm pegs, and then he scaled them all up around the 3mm pegs to figure out how big they are. And they're like basically they're tall scouts basically.
Yeah.
So they'll be in pretty good scale. Plus much as they were shrimps on the cartoon, and they were like minicon size. In the actual comics, they were more along the lines of like large scouts compared to other guys.
I'm gonna say this: anytime that anyone talks about Frenzy and Rumble on this show or any of the other Geekcast Radio Network shows, I'm going to constantly go back to this. I want Masterpiece Soundwave with Masterpiece cassettes.
And I would completely agree with you. Because that would be awesome. And he
but
would
on
have
the
to have
flip
Rumble,
side
Frenzy,
of that,
Ravage, Rat-Bat.
the problem with doing Masterpiece Soundwave and Masterpiece cassettes is you would have to then go do Blaster and Masterpiece Blaster cassettes as well.
But think about the fact that for Takara Tomy, cassettes would be awesome because then you could sell the cassettes as add-on sets. And then you have e-hobby repaints of the cassettes.
As long... And I know, I'm not going to start the whole debate, but for me, Rumble is purple, Frenzy is red.
Yes.
Or Rumble is technically, if you look at the G1 cartoon, hell, if you look at the 86 movie, technically Rumble is purplish blue, but I like to refer to him as purple. And Frenzy is technically black and red. He's mostly black more than red. So, I mean, technically Rumble is purple, Frenzy is black.
Yes, although honestly, I still go. Okay, I'm waiting for Hasbro to troll us with that Rumble Frenzy, just with the idea of not actually saying which one is which.
Yeah, I know.
Even though we all know that it's really the Rumble is the red one according to Hasbro, because every single Rumble toy that Hasbro has put out has been red and black.
Yeah, I know. It's funny, we're talking about Frenzy here a little bit, but it's funny. Michael Wilson seems to think that in Beast Machines... You've seen Beast Machines, right?
Yes.
In Beast Machines, when Night Scream is telling his story...
Oh, the Soundwave is in there?
And we see the fact that he runs out from behind Soundwave, Michael Wilson seems to think Frenzy got turned into Night Scream
That's actually an interesting fan theory. I mean, we know Soundwave is there because they had his CGI model
Yeah,
from Beast Wars, so they just reused it.
yeah.
But the fact still, but I won't disagree with you. I think I've heard that fan theory before. Although, why don't no, I guess Ratbat wouldn't work personality-wise.
Well, Ratbat wouldn't work because Ratbat wasn't a robot with legs. I mean, and the whole point of Night Scream was that he scanned the bat DNA from the cave.
True.
So,
that's true. Plus, Ratbat was probably off busy accounting or something. Ratbat is the Hermes Conrad of the Decepticons.
Oh boy. Wow. On that note, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us here on ToyCast. There's some ways to get in contact with us, leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. You can comment on each episode post. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. I checked this the other day. I don't think we have any new reviews recently. And of course, if you live outside of the United States, you are going to have to email us your review. You can either send it to tfg1mike@gmail.com or steve@geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter. The show name there is TFToycast. Mine is TFG1Mike. What is your Twitter?
General Tekno.
Become a fan on Facebook. It's facebook.com/geekcastradio network. Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving the message for and your name. 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed this episode of ToyCast and wish you'll join us next time. For now, I am TFG1 Mike with
General Tekno.
Thank you for listening. Until next time.